Frank, you look
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Frank Radis, and I'm the expert in residence at Definition 6, the unified marketing agency that is sponsoring this panel about, as you can see over there, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube networks, what portals deliver for branded content distribution. We have two great guests. We have Sloan Carroll, who's the Associate Director for Content Marketing Strategy at PBS, and Gil Wolchuk, who is the EVP of Sales North America for Synaptic Digital. It's a company that was recently acquired by Definition 6, so we can talk to Gil a little bit about what he's going to discuss with this HBO True Blood application that we did from his role as a Definition 6 employee. Let's start right now talking about Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey, as you all know, is one of the hottest shows on television these days. Recently, that is 2 days ago, won the SAG Award for the ensemble cast. Pretty amazing thing. Going into their third season, which started on January the 6th, the opportunity came to Definition 6 from PBS and Masterpiece to create a piece of content that would live on a second screen, that would take the material from the first two seasons, which was a total of 19 hours, and synthesize it down to a 5-minute piece of tape. Once that was done, that sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? Once that was done, it had to be determined how that was going to get used, what the goals were for the use of it, and what it was that they expected this piece of tape to do to help people move into the third season. I'd like to ask Sloan if she would tell us a little bit about the process.
Yeah, sure. So just to back up a little bit, PBS isn't usually attending this conference, so PBS is a little different. We're not one of the big four broadcast networks. We're not cable. We're public media. And public media doesn't always have that opportunity to really rise up in pop culture. It's not often that we have a show that's in the same conversation as Kim Yee's Baby, but we have that opportunity with Downton Abbey. So we really felt like we had something special with Downton Abbey to bring in bigger audiences than we ever had before. So that's when we sat down, knowing that season 3 was going to premiere in the winter of 2013, and we said earlier in that year, we know it's going to be a big event. We know it's going to be PBS's Super Bowl, so to speak. So what can we do that's above and beyond a normal campaign? We knew we were going to have a good, solid advertising campaign. We knew we were going to do some fun behind-the-scenes pieces. We felt there was opportunity to do something more. We felt that way because more was already being done. It just wasn't being done by us. The fan love and creativity around Downton Abbey is phenomenal. It's absolutely amazing. You know when Fred Armisen is dressing up as Lady Edith on a Jimmy Fallon show, you have something special on your hands. So we started to think, and talking with Definition 6, is there a user-generated, fan-generated content angle going into season 3 that we should tap into? I mean, they're obviously already doing things. What can we harness that power? Can we kind of guide it the way we want it to go? And the more we thought about that and we looked at it from different angles, we realized the fans are doing a really good job all on their own. They're doing a bang-up job. We don't really need to meddle with that. They're going to create things that we can't even imagine, and it's going to be amazing. So that presented us with the dilemma of, well, what can we do? What can we do that's going to be above and beyond, a cherry on top of our campaign? And so we presented ourselves with the challenge of, we have existing audience built in at PBS of a large number of maybe 70-year-old retirees. We have a potential universe of fans that are 18-year-old college kids. And then we have a whole gamut in the middle that we truly can reach out to all those different people. So trying to figure out what would work and what that special piece would be. As Frank said, we decided to do a recap of seasons 1 and 2 leading into seasons 3 that drilled down 19 hours of footage into 5 minutes. And it lived only online. So it was this perfect piece that worked for existing fans who'd been a whole year without any Downton Abbey. And it also worked really well for potential fans who has the time to just sit down one weekend and watch 19 hours of Downton Abbey. Some people do, but. So that's how this came to be. And we're going to show the video in just a couple of minutes, but I want to just show you how it was received once we launched it. So it lived on pbs.org and on YouTube. It was online only. And we promoted it through a lot of the same vehicles that people had come to expect to hear about all these viral videos that fans made. So it was mostly through the social avenues like Facebook. So here is something, immediately when we launched this at the beginning of December, the feedback that we got was, this is freaking awesome, and it's not even a Saturday Night Live skit. That was high praise, kind of representing the younger end of the spectrum of people we were trying to reach. There are also a lot of celebrity fans, and we reached out to them, asking them to kind of push this out through their channels, and here's an awesome retweet that we got from Joan Rivers. And then it was also really well received across kind of our industry media, and Mashable posted it, and we got really great reception from that just a couple days before the premiere, so just getting that extra push into season 3, getting people caught up, exposed to Downton Abbey, and primed and ready going into our new season. So it ended up actually being the most viewed video on pbs.org for the month of December. So it's not only great branded content on its own, but this perfect promotional tool getting people to season 3, which has done really well for us. It's one of the highest rated shows we've had ever, frankly. So without further ado, let's go ahead and watch the recap.
Here's what you've missed on seasons 1 and 2 of Masterpieces Downton Abbey. It's 1912. The family and staff of Downton Abbey have just found out about the Titanic.
Oh my God.
More than sad.
It's a complication.
Robert Crawley is the Earl of Grantham. His mother, the Dowager Countess. His wife, Cora, an American heiress who gave him 3 daughters, Mary, Edith, and Sybil. She did not give him a son.
No, you did not.
Heir to Robert's estate, James, and his son Patrick just went down with the Titanic. Now, his oldest daughter Mary, once engaged to Patrick, has no inheritance. And Cora's fortune will go to the new heir, Lord Grantham's third cousin once removed, Matthew Crawley.
A complete unknown has the right to pocket my money, along with the rest of the swag.
Matthew is not happy either.
Still don't see why I couldn't just refuse it.
Meanwhile, downstairs, the staff adjusts to the arrival of John Bates,
The new valet.
who was injured in the war. Most of the staff, Carson, Mrs. Hughes, Mrs. Patmore, Daisy, Anna, and William, are simply surprised by his arrival. But others, like Thomas and O'Brien, are downright rude. Matthew and his mother Isabel arrive.
Welcome to Downton.
Mary and Matthew get off on the wrong foot.
The whole thing is a complete joke.
So do Mrs. Crawley and the Dowager Countess.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Cora thinks Mary should wed Matthew.
Can't be serious.
But then a dashing Turkish diplomat named Kamal Pamuk visits Downton.
Lady Mary Crawley, I presume.
Mary flirts with Pamuk. Pamuk seduces Mary, then dies in her bed.
I'll be ruined, Mama.
Mary enlists Anna and her mother to help cover it up. Daisy sees them. It's 1913. Anna starts a friendship with Bates. Lord Grantham hires a new chauffeur, a socialist named Branson. He encourages Lady Sybil's feminist leanings. Anna tells Bates how she feels,
I love you, Mr. Bates.
but he rejects her.
I'm not a free man.
It's 1914. Sir Anthony Strachan arrives to court Mary. Mary isn't interested, until Edith is.
Is that a challenge?
Edith is angry. Daisy tells her about Mary and Pamuk, and then Edith writes the ambassador to Turkey, setting off rumors that force Cora to confess to the Dowager Countess. Matthew and Mary talk. They kiss. He proposes.
Oh, my darling.
But Mary wants to tell him her secret.
Oh.
Bates reconsiders his relationship with Anna. Almost. Cora is pregnant.
Pregnant?
O'Brien orchestrates an accident, then regrets it, but too late.
Just wait.
It was a boy.
Mary finally accepts Matthew's proposal, but he questions her motives.
So I've ruined everything.
He leaves. Troubling news reaches Downton Abbey.
We are at war with Germany.
2 years later, it's 1916, and Matthew Crawley is on the front lines. He returns to Downton on leave with his new fiancée, Miss Lavinia Swire.
What?
Bates proposes to Anna. She says yes. Then his wife shows up and threatens to expose the Pamuk scandal unless he leaves Downton Abbey. He gives in. It's 1917. William enlists.
And then you go to war.
Mrs. Patmore convinces Daisy to pretend to be his sweetheart.
You can't let him go to war with a broken heart.
Anna goes to see Bates.
It won't be long now.
Then Lord Grantham convinces him to return to Downton. Sir Richard Carlisle arrives and proposes to Mary.
I think very highly of you.
It's not very romantic.
Very highly. Goodness.
She still loves Matthew, but she knows it's over.
If he died, I don't think I could go on living.
Downton Abbey is turned into a hospital for wounded soldiers. Sybil is a nurse, Mary and Edith tend to patients. It's an adjustment. It's 1918. Matthew and William are declared missing in battle. Branson asks Sybil to run away with him.
You're in love with me.
Mary finds out.
God in heaven.
Matthew returns, in time to sing a duet.
Would be such wonderful things to do.
Well, now I've seen everything.
Then he and William return to the front and are caught in a terrible blast. Matthew is paralyzed.
You mean there can be no children?
He wants Lavinia to move on.
What?
William is dying. He wants Daisy to marry him immediately.
Can't.
But she does. William dies hours later. Bates's wife comes back with new threats about exposing the Pamuk scandal. Mary enlists Sir Richard to save her reputation.
I know everything that goes on in this city.
Sir Richard is jealous of Matthew and threatens Mary with exposure.
Don't ever cross me.
At last, the war is over. Bates comes back from meeting his wife. A telegram arrives.
His wife's dead.
The plot thickens.
It's 1919. Matthew feels a
Tingling in my legs.
Then Lavinia trips, and Matthew stands to help her.
My God.
He will make a full recovery. They announce their
All
re-engagement.
this unbridled joy has given me quite an appetite.
Bates's wife may have committed suicide with poison he purchased.
Have you told the police?
He hasn't. Sybil tries to run away with Branson.
I think this is mad. Sneak off like a thief in the night.
Her sisters drag her back. Sybil and Branson announce their plans to the family.
I will not allow my daughter to throw away her life.
It doesn't go well. Matthew and Mary share a moment after dinner. Lavinia walks in.
What are you doing up?
The Spanish flu strikes Downton Abbey. Lavinia is sick and believes Matthew may still love Mary.
Happy. For my sake.
Lavinia dies.
We're cursed, you and I.
Bates and Anna marry. They share one happy night, then
Are you looking for me?
he is arrested for his wife's murder and found.
Guilty.
Cora confesses to Lord Grantham about the Pamuk scandal.
I think I can be relied on to remember any guest who is found dead in his bed.
Well, that's the thing.
He consoles Mary,
I want a good man for you.
which gives her the courage to tell Matthew.
I never could despise you.
Mary breaks up with Sir Richard.
My God, Mary.
Matthew defends her. Sir Richard leaves for
Do
good.
you promise?
Matthew proposes to Mary, again.
Lady Mary Crawley, will you do me the honor of becoming my wife?
She accepts. Downton Abbey Season 3, a special presentation of Masterpiece, premieres January 6th at 9/8 Central, only on PBS. Own Downton Abbey Seasons 1 and 2 on DVD or Blu-ray today, and pre-order Season 3 at shoppbs.org.
So let me ask if I got this right. So he died. They went to war. They came back from war. They fell in love. They married. He went to jail. He died.
You did it in 10 seconds.
Okay,
Took
so
us
I
five
I think the
minutes.
first time we did, in the first cut, the Pamuk piece was probably in there like 10 times. We kept showing him, and Sloan kept, you can't show him that many times.
Yeah, but you certainly kept going back to it because it was really one of the most intriguing pieces of the entire
But
show.
that's the thing, that we ended up being very true to the storyline. Like I was talking with the fan-generated content, it's very tempting for us as the broadcaster to kind of step over a line that we realized that the fans didn't even want us to do, because they kind of controlled that world of the parody. We had to be more respectful of the stories, the characters, and Masterpiece had a major role in guiding us that way. That's the series that Down airs on. So I think that we ended up in a good place, letting the humor of the stories, the Pamuk scandal, come out on its own.
You know, I also think that the presentation of the witty banter and the way that it was read and the way that it was intercut with the more serious lines actually helped to create a whole different kind of a universe, which online, I'm assuming part of the strategy going into it was knowing that you just don't put something online that is an exact duplicate of what's on the air. You've got to come up with some other thing that the online people who are working with this content online or on some second screen are going to get something that's different, yet still true to the story.
Yeah, that was the case, and knowing that that's where they expected to find this witty, funny, Downton Abbey creative content was why we wanted to keep it in that avenue and kind of promote it in the vehicles that people were used to hearing about something witty, funny about Downton Abbey that wasn't made by PBS, but was made by a fan. So we wanted to keep it in that same realm.
And as you said, this launch on the 6th of January was higher than the prior launch and the one prior to that.
Each season basically doubled our viewing audience. So we started to bring out larger arsenal of material to get out to the public to engage them, because we know there's a huge potential of people who see a little bit of Downton Abbey know that they want to watch more. So it's just getting more material out there to them.
You know, it boils down in the end to reach and frequency of message, which is always sort of the holy grail of what marketing is. And not only are people talking about Downton Abbey because it's winning awards and people are talking about it because it's a good show, but also because it's being presented on all these second screens in such entertaining ways. It's about the content, but the content has to create a conversation. And that gives me a chance to slide over to Gil, who worked at Definition 6 with our client HBO on True Blood. So True Blood, I assume that many of you in here are familiar with the program. It's about vampires. And
not just vampires.
Well, and people. But I will say it's about vampires and people. And it has a huge fan base. Remember that HBO obviously counts on subscriptions rather than advertisers. So they can do some things that other people can't do, not unlike what PBS can get away with, making a really high quality production. So they wanted to do something really different that would also bridge from a season to a next season. So Gil can tell us about that since he worked on it.
So, yeah, thanks. And the beauty of my deck is that I don't have to talk much because we did a behind the scenes cut for True Blood that we'll show. But just to set it up real quickly, the interesting thing that I've seen here at the conference a lot, everybody's talking about the second screen and the tablet and the mobile, and for the most part, what you're seeing is just a repurpose of content. What we as a creative agency like to do is kind of change things, so we don't want to just put the same content in another place. We want to create something new, and getting to work with HBO and Alan Ball Productions gave us the ability to do just that, and so with that, I'll go right into the video.
True Blood. It's more than a show. It's an obsession for millions of fans worldwide. With season 4 looming, HBO needed an idea with Bite to inflame anticipation for True Blood's biggest premiere yet. We had an idea to reward fans' loyalty with the ultimate fantasy, seeing themselves and their friends inside their favorite show.
First, this started with HBO Creative Services, and they got really excited in telling a story beyond the 30-second commercial. They got Alan Ball involved with directing a Facebook app, a webisode.
Alan Ball's team worked with Definition 6 to tag areas where we would use Facebook user-provided data. These images and areas occurred all throughout the shoot, on walls, on napkins, and later we would insert different elements from the user photos and information, literally giving it a higher realistic state with all the lining and artifacting we did through the layers.
What's really cool behind the scenes is everything we had to do to make sure that the experience was as blindingly fast and seamless as it could possibly be. We had this on 40 servers. We tested for 200,000 concurrent users. We made sure that every single user had the best experience possible. With such high performance and that kind of availability in the background, is that even though we prepared for the worst, we never had to show this.
So the app for True Blood was an interactive experience that brings the user on Facebook into an episode of the show. So a quick little 3-minute episode where they're a centerpiece of it as well as their friends. So a great way to enjoy what would be a reward for them being a loyal fan.
I don't know what you've done to me, but I know this much is true.
Seems to be no shortage of applicants for Yvetta's old job. You need to choose a new dancer. Frondendar Yavlahulen?
Please leave a message for
Lindsay Pearl.
I'll have to send a message. Seems like no one's answering their phones these days.
This is just the latest in a recent rash of missing person cases, the second in this very neighborhood.
I am up to my flat ass in missing persons. Not to mention that damn DEA investigation. Thank you very much.
When the app went live, we got really great fan reaction, and this was with no supporting media whatsoever. So it's the gift that keeps on giving, because you can keep on telling the story over and over again, and when you circulate your friends, it's a new story again. So we're really proud to be a part of it.
Cool. So out of that, the app, so it was a very simple process inside Facebook. You would be a fan, you become a fan, you'd like the True Blood page, and then it was a one-stop curation. You would click the Immortalize button once. We would do we do a profile scrape, grab about 9 friends. There's about 13 different gimmicks. The whole video is about 4 minutes long. The intro piece, instead of saying Facebook friend, shows the different friends. And then what was really cool at the end of it, we let you actually go through that process yourself. So you see there at the end where it says share your video, you could post it, but then you could also go, and it's your turn, you can go make your own. So you could decide who of your friends wanted to be each character. I'll admit the first time I did it, step one was find who you want the one missing. My ex-wife went missing, it was very easy. You know, stuff like that. The reality was it had great results. So when we started with the process, the page had about 6 million likes already. Obviously, True Blood's a big show for them. This was between season 3 and 4. It grew to over 9 million likes throughout the process. 96,000 comments. The feed was amazing to be able to keep up with. It was one of Ad Age's top 10 social media campaigns. Over 250,000 unique videos have been created. The one stat that we didn't put up there that's interesting is we figured out, based on all the number of people that created videos and multiplied it by the friends who could have been in videos, you could have had 38 million different permutations of people in videos. So we called it, internally we called it the world's largest casting call. Guinness hasn't called us to put that out there. So, and I'll stop there.
So, you know, in order to do some kind of transmedia thing like this, you really need to get the show involved. The producers, the directors, the cast, everybody has to feel that they're invested in this. Isn't that right?
No, we just thought and shot our own thing. And Alan would be good with it. No, it was actually really, it's one of those things that you really do.
I put up with this all the time.
So. You really do have to obviously have the input and help. And for us, HBO, it's a great relationship that we've had, and our group has had it for a really long time. We work with their creative services that said, we really want a great idea. We together came up with a great idea. Then they went and pitched it to the production company. Certainly Alan Ball's group could have said, no way, we're not going to do anything like that. He was very much about social media. He was intrigued by it, offered to direct it. They had to offer it from an actor's standpoint. It wasn't part of their contract, so certain actors didn't want to do it. They didn't have to do it. They weren't forced to do it. Others saw the value of it. It's amazing to know that some of the cast that were in it, they would post it on Facebook. They made their own videos, so it was really cool. But yeah, that kind of collaboration, you realize that creative services from HBO wrote the piece, Alan Ball's group directed it. We sent out our people to make sure when you're doing the right pins and captures to be able to do what looks like when he's holding up that newspaper and make it look real. That's a very specifically technical shot that had to be gotten. So it was a really big collaboration between all three groups.
So let's talk a little bit about collaboration for a minute, because what's interesting here is that we have the vendor and the client for both of these projects. So Sloan being the client from PBS and Gil being the vendor with Definition 6 as we created, as a matter of fact, both of these projects. Talk a little bit about the client-vendor relationship for a second.
Sloan's my best client. Without a doubt. No, I mean, for us, I mean, collaboration, I think that's what separates us as an agency is I think we embark on every project with a client very much lock and step, that we try not to go too far out there and do stuff without coming back. We're always kind of in that review process and wanting to get feedback. So I don't think we ever really embark on anything without the client being right there with us every step of the way. Sloan would probably agree or disagree.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, I actually saw the True Blood app and reached out to Definition 6 because I thought it was just so amazing, and I knew we had things in our pipeline that we could possibly do something similar and creative. And kind of the other end, you had access to the HBO Creative Services Department. For Downton Abbey, we did not have that luxury. We didn't have Julian Fellows, who's the creator. He's also the full author. He writes everything, and we didn't have access to him to make some sort of very custom, Facebook app content. So we had to work with what was already available, and I think we did a really good job of drilling that down and repurposing it for another use, another promotional avenue. But yeah, I mean, it's a constant conversation, vendor, client, and you want to have a good fit and a good relationship from the get-go, and you'll end up in a good place.
So to bring it back full circle to what the panel is really about, which was about the digital distribution aspects of Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. In fact, both of these took advantage of all three of those.
Certainly on the HBO side, everything except the YouTube. I do have to say that we did restrict out of YouTube on that. And if there was one complaint by end users and we were fine, we knew we were going to have it, is that they couldn't pull that video file out and use it in other places. And that was intentional. We wanted it to live only there, and we didn't want it to go other places. But certainly from HBO's standpoint and from the social drive, just going and liking something wasn't enough. The tweets had to be directed the right way. They came from Cast, they came from HBO. We certainly took advantage of the HBO Go platform and all their different social platforms to get it out there. I think you can't have a social generated content idea without leveraging all the different platforms.
Well, and clearly in the case of True Blood, when there was absolutely no paid media whatsoever, that all had to be really well planned.
Right, yeah, I mean, again, you're also reaching out, not just placing it in social, but you're seeding it with the right blogging community. You're really doing that kind of upfront research to know who the audience is, how to message to them, how to get their influencers. Especially, we work on a lot of projects that aren't paid, that we don't do a lot of paid placement, and we've learned a lot over time to figure out what's the right way to do it to get something. We don't like to use the term shareable, or viral, we use the term shareable. So in order to make something shareable, it's really about finding the community and who the influencers are to be able to get it out there without having to pay for it.
So I want to thank you, Sloan and Gil, and let's open it up to the audience for some questions. We have about 4 minutes left. There's a microphone right here. So come on. Somebody have something they want to ask? Can't believe it.
Why not viral instead of viral?
Why not viral? Viral's a negative word. I had an upper respiratory infection this past week, and it was viral, and it wasn't good. So I get the context of what it is, that it spreads rapidly through a system and all that stuff, just not a positive connotation. Back there.
I'm on your Facebook page, and I'm trying to get me and my friends on your little. How do you do that?
On the app?
To do the Immortalize Yourself app, is that what you're asking?
So it's been a while since.
It's still there.
I know it's still there, but I'm trying to think under timeline, so underneath the likes or something. I know it all got rejiggered with timeline. There should be a container that says Immortalize Yourself. You should be able to click on that, and then one step, make a movie the first time, and then after it runs through, you can make it again, and you pick your friends, and if it doesn't happen in the next 3 minutes, I'll come over there when we're done and show you.
Yeah, you do have to like it, so that's the way to make it work.
We'll figure it out.
We'll show you as soon as the panel's over. We'll go out and Gil will show you.
I will say that every once in a while, anytime you do anything on Facebook, they have a tendency, and they're a client of ours, so I don't say anything bad ever. They do have a tendency to change code fairly rapidly. So with something like this that was done now 2 years ago, there will be times where someone will say, like one of our salespeople or an account person will say, I want to be showing True Blood, and it's not working, and somebody on the back end in programming has to go and kind of change a feature to get it to work, because Facebook likes to change.
Speaking of Facebook, I'm going to throw some other little thing out there. If you all do or don't like Timeline, there is a very cool thing that you can do on Timeline in the search bar. Type in Timeline Movie Maker, and then click on it, like it, and it will actually turn your timeline into a movie of your life from the very beginning to the very end. You can choose 5 different pieces of original music. You can put people in it that you like or don't like after it's already gone out and done it by itself. And then you can share that with other people. It's just another application that will allow you to take something off of Facebook and then share it into your social media group. Anybody else? Yeah?
Besides the changing of the codes, were there any other challenges that you didn't foresee, and how did you overcome those challenges?
I would say with every digital project, there's challenges. For us, doing as much research upfront to know what the issues are going to be. As a creative shop, we're based in technology. We were a technology consulting group before we were a creative agency. So we generally don't sell projects that we haven't thought about actually being able to do. So there are some places that'll come up with great ideas and then go, well, yeah, I don't know how to do that. We generally know how to do everything, at least 80% of it, and then we can figure out the rest of it. We keep very good open lines with groups like Facebook. And inside, we're obviously an allowed vendor inside the system. So if we have an issue in one of the social places, we open up a ticket and get it resolved as quickly as possible.
So I'd like to thank Sloan and Gil and everybody for coming this afternoon. And if you have any more questions for us, we'll be roaming around out there in the hall. So thank you all very much.
Thanks.